Hey everyone! Today I'm gonna answer this question by a user. Are there any correlations between Enneagram and MBTI? Answer. Enneagram tracks motivations while MBTI influences implementation. With that in mind, here are the most common patterns between Enneagram and MBTI. By Enneagram, ones, clear J or borderline JP, often clear I or borderline IE. Choose clear E or borderline EI, clear F or borderline FT, clear J or borderline JP. Freeze, clear E or borderline EI, clear T or borderline TF, clear J or borderline JP. Force, clear I or borderline IE, clear N or borderline NS, clear F or borderline FT.
Fives, clear I or borderline IE, clear T or borderline TF.
Sixes, most likely borderline IE. As for sixes, it depends on the situation, often clear S or borderline SN, as well as clear J or borderline JP. Sevens, clear E or borderline EI, clear P or borderline PJ. Eights, clear E or borderline EI, clear T or borderline TF, clear J or borderline JP. Nines, most likely borderline IE. Nines take the shape of whomever they happen to be around. Borderline refers strongly to the 41-59% range of a dichotomy. Most people have at least one borderline preference in MBTI, meaning that the vast majority of people won't fit neatly into any MBTI type. Carl Jung was well aware of the fact that psychological reality can't be divided in just 16 types, and that's also part of why he was critical of Myers and Briggs. Bottom line, MBTI is a matter of closest fit, not exact fact. By MBTI, ENTPs are most commonly sixes, sevens, threes, eights, or fives, and least likely to be choose, fours, or ones. ENFPs are most commonly nines, sixes, sevens, twos, or eights, and least likely to be fives or ones. ENTJs are most commonly threes, ones, sevens, or eights, and least likely to be fives, twos, fours, or nines. ESTJs are most commonly sixes, threes, ones, or eights, and least likely to be fives, twos, fours, or nines. ENFJs are most commonly nines, sixes, twos, ones, or sevens, and least likely to be fives. ESFJs are most commonly nines, sixes, twos, ones, or sevens, and least likely to be fours or fives. ESTPs are most commonly sixes, sevens, threes, or eights, and least likely to be twos, fours, or ones. ESFPs are most commonly sixes, threes, sevens, twos, or eights, and least likely to be fives or ones. INTPs are most commonly nines, sixes, or fives, and least likely to be fours, twos, or eights. INFPs are most commonly nines, sixes, or fours, and least likely to be fives, threes, or eights. INTJs are most commonly nines, sixes, fives, ones, or threes, and least likely to be fours or twos. ISTJs are most commonly 6s, 1s, 5s, or 3s, and least likely to be 4s or 2s. INFJs are most commonly 9s, 6s, 1s, 2s, or 4s, and least likely to be 7s or 8s. ISFJs are most commonly 9s, 6s, 2s, or 1s, and least likely to be 7s, 3s, 5s, or 8s. ISTPs are most commonly 9s, 6s, or 5s, and least likely to be 8s, 4s, or 2s. ISFPs are most commonly 9s, 6s, or 4s, and least likely to be 3s, 5s, or 8s. Note, these are general patterns, not strict correlations. Individual variations always apply. A quick note about socionics. Many mistakenly conflate MBTI with socionics, but they are very different. Socionics attempt to compress your full Enneagram configuration, MBTI, and sociocultural nuances into a static sociotype label, essentially flattening psychological depth to a one-size-fits-all designation with the aim of tracking intertype relationships. For instance, MBTI ENTJ8, such as Donald J. Trump, are commonly typed as SLE in socionics, while the patterns of socionics founder Ashura Agustinavichute align more closely with a MBTI ENTJ3 profile, and she self-typed as Isle in socionics. Notably, Ashura created the Poelar as a narrative cover for her pronounced difficulty with feeling, while still claiming the perceiver mantle. And to wrap up, contradictions between typology systems are nonsense. The human psyche is hyperfluid and personality is multifaceted. Focus on what each typology system tracks at its core, and let the patterns emerge naturally. Trying to force consistency across typology systems is a waste of time. Speaking of that,
You serious?
a Pyongyang is someone obsessed with mathematical precision, yet too afraid to explore actual math. Instead, they force this precision onto fields where it doesn't belong, believing that symmetry equals truth and anything asymmetric must be false. Pyongyangs are all over the internet, but one of their favorite hangouts is the infamous personality database, aka the dumpster fire of typology. I strongly recommend staying away from PDB. It's a misinformation hub run by teenagers who don't understand anything about typology but love to insult anyone who disagrees. That said, see you later.